Has it been a while that you've been chasing that one player that just always goes rogue and messes with the server here and there? And whenever you find him, he just either teleports away or he shields up. Well, in this update, that letter bugger is never running away again. Greetings, Commanders. My name is Eagle, and we're back again with another update video. There has been a huge update that just dropped into the game. Version 1.25 has just been updated just today, and man oh man, is there some good stuff coming in here. Now, there are a lot of thoughts going out there, but in this video, we're going to be discussing every single one of those aspects that have been updated into the game, and we're going to give you guys our thoughts about them so that you can share them with your friends and your guildmates as well. So, the first thing, starting with the great news, scout reports can now finally be shared in the game, which is also amazing. I think this is actually incredible. We have been wanting this for a while now, and you can actually share them with your guildmates right now, because the only way you could actually share them before is either like on Discord or whatever, but right now you can simply share them in the game, which I think is an amazing thing that have been updated lately. Also, there have been a new governor skill, but we're going to leave that for the last thing because we're going to be talking about this for a while. We're going to go ahead to the third point, which is optimize some UI display over the warship. Now, why this is basically actually good, I still don't know why we have two of these. I think we only need one of these because right now you can switch between those tabs quickly without having to click that button over there. So I think the only thing that has to be changed is to make this only one button over here that you click it, and then you can switch between the skill upgrade and the warship modification, which I think is also a pretty solid upgrade to the game over here. Now, the fourth thing that have been updated is that the talents for Tank Destroyer or the Tank Destroyer talent tree has been enhanced and buffed. Now, I absolutely love this like buff over here because of multiple reasons. The first reason is that right now we have 5 total tank or anti-tank officers in the game that are combat based. Of course, apart from Jean over here, because she's not really based for combat, she's a gatherer. Now, the other ones, meaning that we can actually put at least 2 anti-tanks or anti-tank marches that are pure anti-tanks. Now, anti-tanks for a while right now have been dominated by tanks, even though they kind of counter them. But when it comes to some combos, for example, like Grace with Natalia, these kind of combos are really hard to take out, especially if you're using like an anti-tank, like whatever kind of combo you're using with your anti-tanks, like for example Lilith Jessica, which is I think one of the strongest anti-tank combos. It's sometimes just way too hard to actually take out that tank, and sometimes it just feels insignificant because these troops must actually deal more damage, because that's the whole point of the unit advantage or unit type advantage. But right now, with this buff, I think the damage multiplier will significantly enhance, because everything over here that has been enhanced will add a total of 16% total of attributes enhancement. Meaning that you see over here, the anti-tank gun attack was 5% before, now it's 10% total. Same goes for the health as well. And lastly, the anti-tank gun mastery was 2% all over, and now, or it was, I believe 3%, and now it's 5%. Let me check that real quick. With the latest update, it was 3%, and now it's 5%. Now, these 3 things over here will significantly enhance your anti-tank march, because you have to multiply this also by 2, because you have 2 commanders that are usually running. If you have the secondary, of course, at 5 stars, and will significantly, this is basically, we're talking about 10% plus attack, 10% plus defense, and 2% plus attack, defense, and health. So that's a total of 12% attack, 12% health, and 2% plus defense. This is basically amazing, and I'm happy that they actually did this adjustment because it was definitely needed. Now let's talk about the new governor skill. I'm hearing a lot of thoughts about, like, very negative thoughts out there that this skill over here is very OP and it's kind of insane. It's kind of ruining the game. Well, I kind of have a different thought on that. Now, what this skill does, if you don't know what this skill is, it's basically called electromagnetic blockade. Now, what it does, it basically holds a radius, like it creates a radius of electromagnetic like magnetic field, let's say, and all the bases in that radius cannot teleport anymore. They can, however, activate shields. So basically what this, or when is this used, is that, or when should this be utilized, is that when a base is at the war effect or warmonger effect, which is basically an effect that prevents you from activating a shield. So if you actually activate this skill on that specific base that has that effect, meaning that that base cannot activate a shield nor teleport away, meaning it is stuck there for a full 10 minutes for you to do anything with that base. Now, if that base is a small base that has, for example, 1 to 2 million troops, and I say small base 1 to 2 million troops because at this point in the game, there are bases with like 5 to 10 million troops, and those are considered big bases. But 1 to 2 million troops is still a base that can be rallied or double rallied or even swarmed at some points in the game. So this gives like a huge advantage for a server to actually zero a player in the biozone. Of course, this is only activated in the biozone. It's not activated, or it's not available in the like actual server yet. So in the biozone, you can activate this, and a player can never run or activate a shield, and they can never teleport. So that player is only stuck there with their troops in their base. They can only be reinforced by their allies, and they just have to take the hit, basically. They just have to take the hit for full 10 minutes. Now, let's talk about this a little bit more. Like how this, like let's say about the mechanics or mechanism of this skill. Now, this skill is only activated by the governor. You can go to the government and check that out. If you go to the government right now, you will find a tab right over here for the governor skill. You can read more about it. But basically, this skill has a cooldown of 24 hours, so you can activate this once a day only. It costs the governor 5,000 gold, and only the governor can actually activate this skill. 5,000 gold is a big amount of gold, but I mean, for the governor, basically, he probably has a lot of gold, so he can actually activate that in a situation that has, like, if the situation like allows that, of course. But if like this is only activated, let's basically talk about when this is actually activated. This is only activated when you're trying to zero a player or when you're trying to attack a base, right? It's not activated for if you're trying to run and you don't want players to chase you or whatever. It's just activated when you're trying to attack that 1 or 2 bases by max, and you want to zero these 2 bases out. Now, why is it super effective in the biozone? This is because simply if you have like 2 bases right next to each other, like for example over here, you can activate it right in between these 2 bases, and these 2 bases, if they have Warmonger effect, they cannot shield up or teleport, meaning that you can actually have a, for example, 2 rallies going on at these 2 bases at the same time for each base, and this way you would ensure that these 2 bases are completely zeroed out. Now, let's say the Warmonger effect, or sorry, the electromagnetic field is activated on your base. How do you protect your base from this effect? Now, the way you can actually protect yourself is, first things first, call for reinforcements. Now, the way that actually works is a shielded base or multiple shielded bases of your allies can jump right next to you and start reinforcing your like building. They can reinforce you up to 1 million units, which is really solid, especially if those 1 millions are tier 5s, then it will significantly help you out defending for the whole period of the 10 minutes. Now, if you're getting swarmed, then unfortunately you don't have enough time, to be honest, and you might end up losing a lot of troops and taking a lot of troops in, obviously, in return, but depends on how many players are attacking you, obviously, at the same time. Now, the second thing that you can do by defending this is, if you don't have a lot of resources, what you can do is put your troops out, like activate a march capacity. Put your troops, like if you have like bases right next to you, start reinforcing bases right next to you with huge march capacities. This way, you would ensure that your hospitals are actually holding their place, because the hospitals right now, by the way, have a huge amount of, like, look at this, like my hospital can actually hold about 700k troops because of the double effect of stage 3 command center. That means that I can hold up to 700k troops. And because I have like about 2 million troops in my base right now, so I can put out 1.3 million of these troops in marches, reinforcing my allies that are right next to me. And this way, I would basically not lose any troops and only lose resources. But if I don't have that many resources, that's completely fine. Obviously, this is the worst case scenario that could happen to you, and we're talking here that you have to lose something, right? It's just what is the thing that you're going to lose, basically, because this skill over here is overpowered somehow. But if it is kind of done or countered in a good way, you can actually do that, or you can actually counter it. Now, another way what you can do is, if you're getting rallied, if you have active guild, what you can do is call out your guildmates. You would have like at least 10 people right next to you. They're reinforcing you with 1 million units, and they are swarming the rally that is attacking you by, for example, a Natalia Grace combo. Why do I say that? Because swarming a rally with that combo is actually pretty solid. You will not be losing a lot of troops. On the other hand, you'll be healing, and you will be like taking out that rally quickly. Obviously, there could be a huge fight, and this is only for 10 minutes. Always remember, that's only for 10 minutes. So they can rally you a maximum of 1 to 2 times. So if you can hold 1 to 2 rallies at that specific time, then hey, that's pretty solid. What concerns or what concussions can you actually do in order to avoid being trapped in this? Now, always make sure that your guild, you have enough guild mates in your guild that are active, that can actually reinforce you and defend you in case this happens. Always make sure that you are in a territory that is your territory and not in enemy's territory. And don't overextend unless you are 100% sure that even if they activated that skill on your base, you still have enough units in order to defend a rally by yourself. If you do not have enough units for that, then I wouldn't recommend going into enemy territory or teleporting there, because if you teleport there and you activate the Warmager effect, then you're stuck there for 10 minutes, especially if the governor is online, and basically you're screwed. But if you have like 5 million troops in your base, you have tier 5s, the hell out of tier 5s, you don't really care about that, so you can always teleport and do whatever you want. But then again, triple rallies are a thing, so even if you have like a huge base, they can still triple rally your base and swarm it at the same time. So they're going to be losing some troops, but you're going to be zeroed at the end of the day, and all that money you spend is going to be gone. So now the the playground is a bit different. You have to always take care of being attacked with this skill, and it's not like as flexible as before, of course. But it's not a really bad thing. Like at the end of the day, like this skill will not be activated on a small base. A small base shouldn't actually be really in a front line in the attacks. A small base, what it could be in a safe area. Like for example, if we are fighting in this area, what you could do if you are like a small player, you can just simply teleport your base in this right at the corner of the safe area, so your base will be safe, and you can always send troops out, reinforcing your allies and helping them in a battle over here. This is what you should be doing as a small base. But if you are a big base and if you're like a whale, you can always go outside and not worry about being rallied, because you have your allies reinforcing you and whatnot. So it's not really a huge thing, especially because it's only in the biozone, so you cannot really activate that. For example, if you are in your own server. So that's a good thing. So if this stays in the biozone, then it's kind of acceptable and it's okay, because you still can actually zero out whales, which are a huge problem, especially if those whales that keep bullying players. So right now there is a way to actually zero out these whales if you have enough online players with coordination with your guild mates and your server mates. As we said, this is still like this could actually change in the future. It could be added to the Europe map, which is the normal map, and like there's a lot of things to talk about this skill, and we're gonna definitely see this in combat, probably in the Pentagon War over here throughout different server. We'll definitely have a separate video when we see that in combat, and we see how these players actually reacted in the offense side and in the defense side. So you guys definitely stay tuned for that. If you like this video where we actually discuss what has been updates, like what has been added in new updates of the game, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Share it with your friends if you would like to. Thank you so much for watching, and we will definitely see you on the next one. As always, Eagle out.